Hi, this is Courtney, and I am back again. Today, I'm going to be working with Nearpod. I recently found some information about this app, and what I really like about it is that it is available on the operating system, Windows, and Android, free of charge, and students can use their own devices. They don't have to have iPods. In fact, if one student has an iPod, the other is using a cell phone, smartphone, it still interfaces the exact same way with the teacher at the same time. So, if you're going to use Nearpod, the first thing that you need to do is download the Nearpod app. It's available in the iStore, the Google Play Store, and on Windows. And I set up my account. You could log in with your Google account or your Office 360. I prefer to use an email and password. So I'm putting those in now. Now, you will notice at the bottom that it says student pin. That is a pin that the student would use to log into the session, and we'll see a little bit about that in just a moment. Okay, it's asking what do you want to do today. For our purposes today, I'm going to use a free lesson that was already available in Nearpod. I am going to kind of preview how to use a lesson and what it would look like on the teacher screen. In my next screencast, I'm going to work out a way so that you can see what's in this on the student end. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is click Explore just to give you some ideas of what is available. Okay, and you can see here that there are a lot of lessons available, some of which are charged for, but there are plenty of free lessons. And you can see here that you can click on free lessons. There are presentations on how to use Nearpod, etc. Deal of the week, 10 ELA lessons for 99 cents. I've already downloaded a couple of free lessons, so let's go back to my library. You'll click here. Now, when I click my library, you can see that I've kind of looked through some presentations that are very similar to PowerPoint presentations, and I have decided that I'm going to, for today's purpose, identify the narrator in a story. So I click that, and you get a preview of the slides, and like I said before, it's very similar in some ways to PowerPoint. And you can look here and you can see the description, when it was created, how many slides there are. It also gives the objective based on Common Core for this one. Now, at the bottom you can see that you can do a live session, which would be an in-class session, or you can give it as homework. Let's click live session. Okay, now as you can see, there's a pen, and this pen is what I mentioned before for students to use to log into the session. So I'm going to use my cell phone, which you can't see, but I will explain what's going on with it. So I'm logging into Nearpod, into the Nearpod app on my cell phone. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, here it is. And it's asking me, do I want to join a session, and to put in the pin. So I'm going to put in ENVSY. Okay, and on my screen on my cell phone, I can just see simply the slide. Here on the teacher dashboard, you can see that one student has logged in, and that's me. Okay, so moving on. Here it says waiting for students to sign in. On my cell phone screen, it's asking me for a name, so I'm going to put in my name. And log in. And almost instantaneously, you can see that my name has come up. Now, the purpose of this is not just to know who is logged into the session, but in this particular presentation, there's going to be an opportunity for students to provide the teacher with feedback. Okay, now, students cannot move from a screen until the teacher advances the slide. Okay, so now on my screen, I see exactly what's on the slide. Let's move it along here.
How do you identify who is telling a story? I started this story, A Dog's Tale, and then I wondered, who is telling this story?
Okay, now the next slide that the student sees is how do you identify who is telling the story? I'm going to give my feedback as a student. Okay, so I've put in my feedback. And I'm sending it to my teacher. Okay, and as you can see on the teacher dashboard, this is what happens when the student responds. Now, what I like about this especially is that no one else can see this except me. And a lot of times students are very shy about the answers that they've given. Now let's say that I want to share this particular answer that I received with the class. Then what I do is I click share. What comes up on the student screen is I read the text. It doesn't have Courtney's name next to it, it just says I read the text. Students can see why this is a good answer or why it's a poor answer, and it can give, you as an educator can give the explanation. Okay, and you can see that the presentation continues. Okay, and I wanted to go to the next slide that asks a question, and it goes through a quick review. Now, as I'm asked to read this passage, who is telling the story, how do you know? And I'm going to respond as some of the typical students would respond. Okay. Okay. So, once you get the feedback, I'm not sure, then I know that Courtney needs remediation on this particular subject or concept. And the same here, it asks for a short story of an animal. Okay. For our purpose, let's go back. Do you want to leave this presentation? Yes, you can get back to it later. And when I come back to it, it will be in the exact same spot that it was in when I left off. So if you have a class that has to go to lunch and comes back, you don't have to advance it or go back and forth. When you log back in, it's at the exact same spot. Okay. I wanted to look at create for just a moment. Okay, and here is the dashboard for creating, and you can create much like a PowerPoint or a Prezi presentation. In fact, you can download previous presentations, videos. You can link videos from YouTube like Prezi. Okay, so I hope that this quick overview has given you some insight into Nearpod and that you will explore it because I have to explore it myself many more times to become an expert on it. Well, thank you for your time.